Hi guys, and welcome in. Wanted to talk to you about a new ARPG that I think you should be playing. If you know anything about me, you know that I love ARPGs. I'm really huge on what I consider to be like the classics. So, Diablo-esque games. So, Path of Exile, Grim Dawn, Last Epoch, Wolcen, Chronicon, what else? Hero Siege. ARPGs just in general. I love ARPGs that have lots of expression, lots of build diversity, lots of different ways to win at the game in your own tempo and in your own way. And Slormancer nails it. We can get to some playing here in a moment. Slormancer, it has a really unique sense of humor. It's very self-aware. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but it is actually a really phenomenal game. So I wanted to show you a little bit of gameplay, kind of demonstrate a little bit about the game. I'm not going to play through the story. It's got a very short story. You can probably make it through the story in just a few hours, depending on how motivated you are. It has a cool story. I like it. Disregard the homeless king. It's totally fine. We'll sell some things. I've already looked through everything in my inventory. We'll sell some things, and then we'll get to it. So there are 3 stereotypes in the game. Obviously, I chose the mage stereotype, but there's a knight and a huntress. They're both really cool. They have their merits. I actually think the mage is the hardest one to get started on. And at this point, quite possibly the hardest, maybe least viable one. But I like the archetype, so here we are. So anyways, let's go into an expedition. There are lots of expeditions. We can do just we'll just say a tier 3. This build is not super strong. I made this build to be more of a farming build. And it's kind of experimental. So basically, we get lots of bonuses to Slorm find. You can see here in the corner. Slorm is one of the currencies in the game. It's like this life essence you drain from your enemies. The faster you kill enemies, the more Slorm you get, and Slorm has a lot of interesting effects. Use it to level up skills, etc. So in a lot of games where you only, every time you get a level, or when you level you get skill points, you use those to level up skills. In this game it's a little different. Skills level up as you use them. So you gain mastery every time you use this skill in combat. So right now you see it's 113 out of 383. Math is really hard for me, but I think right now that means I need to cast the skill 270 times in combat. 270 more times in combat to get to the next level. So that's interesting. So we're at level 8, level 9. Do we unlock anything at level 9? I don't think we do. Yeah, we've unlocked all the things already. So a lot of these things, you just have to use them over and over and over. You actually gain mastery. It's a bit grindy, a bit laborious, but it's really neat. Another thing that's really cool about this game is you have these Reapers, all the different weapons. There are quite a few weapons. The weapons are locked to class, right? So we're a mage, so we get these staves. Each staff does different things, and as you level them up, they get more powerful. At a certain experience threshold, they transform into a different kind of staff, which may or may not share similarities with the base type. And then at a certain number of kills, you can also morph the staff. So there's a lot of different options for each of these staves. We're currently using the Big Fury staff. It gives us raw damage and maximum raw damage and damage multiplier, but it also makes our skill values lucky, which means it rolls twice and takes the highest. I just really like this soundtrack in this game. I think it's really neat. But yeah, so here is a kind of a quick look at our build tree, what we're doing right now. We're using a skill called Book Smash. You literally drop an enormous book on the heads of your enemies. I like the skill because it reminds me of Grim Dawn's Trozen Sky Shard, which is a great skill. You wait 10 seconds, drop a meteor on your enemies, nuke everything on the screen, and then you wait 10 more seconds. I like that. I think it's fun. Don't think it's particularly viable, but it's fun. We're also using Rift Nova, which is an AoE, but actually we've morphed it with some specializations. And now we have a clone that casts it for us. So we can demonstrate. We cast the clone, and he casually casts his thing. I just did it to save myself more clicks, honestly. Because clicking a lot in ARPGs is a great way to ruin your wrist. Also, I think it's cool. This mage also gets bonuses to totem uses and stuff like that. This game's got a great crafting system. I would say the crafting system in this game is about as good. I don't know if it's better or worse than the crafting system in Last Epoch, but I'd say I like them both quite a lot. They're both really good crafting systems. So we're level 35, max level's 40. So we're actually getting up there. But levels are only one part of the equation, because you also have to level skills, and you also have to level your Reaper, your staff, your weapon. So we have this guy's an elite right here, and you can see our elite damage is not very high. We're going to cast that, so he's going to be distracted by a clone of us. That way, if he dodges one of my skills, he doesn't instantly kill me. So one of the things I wanted to talk to you about in this game, besides giving you kind of a little look at the game and how it flows, is I want to talk to you about like a game philosophy sort of thing, which is kind of comparing, contrasting the difference between doing what is viable and objectively strong in a video game, especially RPGs, and doing something that is less effective, but more gratifying, more satisfying, more fun. And an example of that would be this skill here, this book skill. I don't think that this book skill is objectively terribly strong. It's got a long cooldown, it doesn't scale. It has a weird way of scaling. It scales with skill damage instead of elemental damage. It also, the bonuses you get through passives are very tricky. Situational, tricky, and I don't think they scale super well. The book does have an AoE splash. Doesn't deal a lot of damage, but does a little bit of splash. Has a chance to recast itself, whatever. When I discovered this book smash, it's the third skill you unlock. You unlock it at, I don't remember. I don't remember what level you unlock it, but it's a low level. When you unlock this skill, I want to say maybe 4 or 5. I was a low level. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. I can drop books on my enemies. But pretty quickly, I realized, like, hey, this skill isn't going to be super viable. It's not going to be super powerful. And it's quite possible that it can be super powerful, super viable. I don't know if it's this specialization of mage I chose. I think I forgot to mention this. Each character, whether it's knight, huntress, mage, they each have 3 specializations that you can level up. And they have their own mastery bar that you advance by using the class-associated skill. But anyways, I wanted to talk to you about like the general philosophy of like, do I do what is meta or objectively easier or more accessible, stronger, or do what's fun? And the reason why I'm talking to you all this is like like we're on Wrath 3. It goes up to Wrath 10, and the Wrath levels scale multiplicatively, not additively, so they get extremely strong. Enemies become foes, become very noteworthy, notable, and terrifying. And you really need high damage, high survivability. You need the best of everything to really thrive in those high Wrath levels. And I guess what I've been mulling over, is in video games like this, do you go for something that is meta and very strong, so you can push through the content, kind of steamroll it all, and have a more like stress-free, chill time? Or do you want to use a skill that is way less powerful, but more satisfying? Maybe you like it more, or you like the challenge. Because I think both come with their unique drawbacks. So with me, I usually like to play things that are objectively quite poor, or just very different, non-meta. Because I really like the concept of like playing video games where you can make your own way, choose your own path, write your own story. I like that. However, very rarely do you actually end up doing something that's objectively really strong. Every once in a while you'll discover like, oh, there's this really cool interaction, or this is really broken, or whatever, just because, by virtue of the fact that it's the path less traveled. But I find that a lot of times you can get really disillusioned when you play the game that way. And although, yes, you are kind of making your own way, this is a scare room, these ghosts debuff you. And these elite rogues are chasing us down. So we're going to hit these ghosts with the book, try to keep them silenced. That way they can't cast their bad juju at us. But, I think if you play the meta way, if you play looking for the things that's most objectively strong, you can kind of miss out on the joy of heavy theory crafting. Like the innovation, the satisfaction of like, hey, I took this skill that is trash and I found a way to make it work. But if you use skills that aren't, like if you're focusing on a playstyle or something that isn't as objectively good, then you struggle. There's a lot more struggle involved. Like right now I'm doing Wrath level 3. I've been able to successfully do up to Wrath level 5, which is here. So Wrath level 3, you can see, oh, you can't see, my camera's in the way. Enemies have 350% more max life, 70% more damage. At Wrath 5, they have 1400% more life and 200% increased damage. So you can see, like, it doesn't scale additively, it scales multiplicatively. It scales really hard. And when you're working with skills that aren't quite as like viable or quite as strong, you go to those higher difficulty levels and you're just getting stomped, right? So for me, doing Wrath level 5 is an accomplishment, where Mrs. Baz and some friends have builds that can easily do like Wrath level 6, Wrath level 7. And they can do it, right? And we're talking Wrath level 6, or Wrath level 7, I'm sorry, is 4,500% max life multiplier, 600% increased damage, that's from enemies. And then Wrath 8 is 7,000 max life, 1,000 increased damage, so like it gets really difficult. So I guess I wanted to make this video, talk about Slormancer a little bit. I highly recommend you play the game. It's 15 bucks. In its early access, incredible unfinished state yet, I think it's phenomenal. It has 3 tile sets, and yet I've played this game for, hold on, let's see, 21 hours, and I'm not anywhere close to being bored with it. I'm not tired of seeing those tile sets. I'm not tired of playing the game. The gameplay loop is really healthy, and I enjoy it. What I find interesting in Slormancer, what it's kind of exposed for me, is that there's this, like, inner struggle between the two classic wolves, right? Do I want to play what I can perceive to be objectively strong so I can power through and win? Or do I want to struggle and forge my way with a less viable skill, or a more challenging skill, and try to innovate ways to make it even work to some degree? What do I find more satisfying? What do I find more fun? Because I think in video games, in any video game, even single-player games, like this game is currently single-player with an undisclosed future of multiplayer. Even in single-player games, there's often this pressure to succeed, this pressure to compete, this pressure to win, right? So you hear your friend, and they're like, I'm on Fury level 6, and you're like, well, I can do Fury level 7, right? And I guess I wanted to make this video to kind of highlight that mental struggle. And I wanted to ask you, what do you do? Would you rather do something less creative, but more powerful? Or would you rather struggle and innovate at a less efficient level? Let me know what you think. Hope you like this video. I'm probably going to do more videos about Slormancer. I really like this game. I think it's really fun. The big issue for me is it's going to take a lot of work to play different things and level them up high enough so I can make more or less knowledgeable statements about them. If you like what you see here, I stream on Twitch, Twitch/9baz quite often. If you want to come by and hang out, come do that. Thank you for watching.